America's first newspaper started publishing long before the nation had even been born. The first was printed in Boston starting in 1690. But in the centuries since, we've come to rely on the daily edition of our favorite paper. In one entire U.S. state, though, that tradition is about to come to an end. Major Garrett has the story.
For more than 100 years, the Casper Star-Tribune has served the state of Wyoming. John Bailey, a doctor in Casper, has subscribed for decades.
We've taken a paper for probably 55 or 60 years, and I've always read the paper. It's a way, I think, to get local news, the news that's important within the community, which may be the most important news there is.
And they've walked with our community through the ups and the downs and the booms and the busts.
Brooke Kaufman, who once worked for the paper, heads Visit Casper and the Convention Bureau.
So I feel like having them as a partner and somebody that's really foundational in our community has made a difference, and it is critical. And I think it's a news outlet that keeps us informed about what's going on in our backyard.
Starting this month, the Star-Tribune will cut the number of days it prints the paper from 7 to 5. This continues a downsizing trend. In 2008, the paper had 40 reporters and 6 bureaus. Now it has 13 reporters and 1 bureau. Wyoming is a big place, and the paper is receding from towns like Lost Springs, population 4. Brad Reese farms there.
So out here in rural Wyoming, you still like traditions. You still like sitting down with your family to meals. And so that tradition of a newspaper coming that you can sit down and open, I think that's something that we're going to miss. It kind of hurts to lose that.
The Monday and Tuesday editions will only be available online, and when that happens, Wyoming will become the only state in the nation without a daily printed newspaper. For Brad Reese, holding a newspaper is different and better.
I'm tired of getting on the internet. You know what I mean? I'm tired of computers. I don't want to look at a computer anymore. I just want to live my life and go enjoy it. And sometimes that just means sitting down with a nice drink and a newspaper to read.
You know, one of my first thoughts when I heard the news was, how many of our older readers are suddenly going to, go out, spend $400 on an iPad to read the e-edition.
Nick Reynolds is the Star-Tribune's State House reporter.
We adapt to things all the time. But if we just think about how long print has been around and how steady of a presence it's been, I mean, we're talking centuries here. And, this is like the greatest disruption to one of the most consistent mediums in human history.
Penelope Abernathy researches the decline of newspapers and the rise of digital media at the University of North Carolina School of Journalism.
Cutting back on the printing and distribution of a newspaper on certain days makes a lot of economic sense for newspapers. What it often doesn't take into account is the dependence that people in outlying areas that do not have access to digital alternatives.
Wyoming ranks near the bottom nationally in internet access, meaning on days it does not print a paper, the Star-Tribune's local and regional news coverage will be invisible in 1/5 of the state.
And what does a local community lose when this type of community journalism disappears?
You typically lose the person who shows up at the school board meeting. When you have a pullback in both coverage and circulation of a state and regional paper, what you typically lose is coverage of the major issues in both the region and the state. We depend on the state and regional newspapers to kind of bring it all together for us and help us understand what the truly important issues are.
In Wyoming, a 6-hour commute is not uncommon. Knitting the state together is a role the Star-Tribune played in print every single day. Now, some news there, as it has been in other parts of rural America, will fall through the cracks in the internet. For CBS This Morning Saturday, Major Garrett, Washington.
Because of poor internet access, so 1/5 of readers then wouldn't have access to that.
And I know it's a silly thing, but yeah, for some people it is. That's access. But the silly thing to me is sometimes you do just want to hold that paper.
Yeah.
You heard one of the men in there.
Yeah. Just want to sit back and have a drink and read the paper. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.